Thank God that these crises in these three states are not isolated. You will discover that they are still the same nature of crises around the whole country because they vary from kidnapping, murder, armed robbery, terrorist attacks, then the purported farmers herdsmen clashes. In Taraba, for instance, a member of the House of Assembly was abducted and killed. If it were in Benue, people will say it's the Fulani herdsmen and that they did it for reprisal because the members of the House of Assembly made laws promulgating anti-open grazing law. So these are all manipulations, in my own opinion. Good. I am not saying that some people from some kind of profession or ethnic background do not commit crime. Of course, crimes are not committed by spirits. I'm saying they are criminals. The people that abducted Hosea Ibi, kidnapped him and killed him, are known as kidnappers and murderers. They couldn't have kidnapped him with a motive, for instance, of feeding the cow or protecting the grazing land. So for me, it's a terrorist attack designed to acquire power and resources. So what I'm saying is that the crisis in this triangle of Taraba, Benue, and Adamawa is all linked to the general spate of terrorism that is engulfing us.
Are there genuine cases of farmers' herders clash?
Yes, there are genuine cases. But here is my take. The real and the original and natural source of conflict between the crop farmer and the livestock farmer has always been existing from time immemorial. And it's not restricted to only Fulani herdsmen. Even the local livestock farmers have that same original conflict with the crop farmers, because livestock are not like human beings. When you lose them, they stray into people's farms and they eat up the crops. They don't have reasoning power, and it's the owners that are held responsible for whatever damage they cause. So there has always been a natural conflict. But here is my take. Such ones have always had their particular traditional way of being resolved. They always have their own, they had their own ADR from time immemorial. They had the traditional chiefs. You have the channels that you report, because such conflicts are anticipated and expected. So they always settled those conflicts peacefully. And that was why they will always tell you that prior to certain time, they had lived peacefully with each other.
Why is the narrative different now?
That is the entrance of terrorism.
Scientific explanation,
Yes.
scientific backing to this explanation you are giving.
Now, very well. And the most plausible scientific backing is that, one, there has never been a time the traditional and the original cattle rearer, there was never a time that they were all withdrawn for military training. There was no time, because for you to handle an invasion, you must be trained militarily. So the modus operandi of the practitioners varies with the training of the ordinary cattle rearer and tallies with the training of the terrorist. You can see the nexus. And then, like I said, they cannot operate except there is anarchy. And because the real cattle rearer is not the owner, you see the disconnect. So when they move in and rustle the cattle, kill the innocent Fulani herdsman, they will take back message to the owners that the host communities have done that. Then the owners, they will extort money from the owners of this cattle to go on reprisal attack. The same set of people doing it. And what's my proof? This cattle has been with the host communities and they have never been rustling the cattle prior to the advent of terrorism. And cattle is not something like 100 naira you can pickpocket.
So what you're saying essentially is
Yes.
that the state governments,
Yes.
in all of these states that we have mentioned are affected, are simplifying this crisis.
Good. And that's why the crisis, with all the solutions they think they are proffering, is being exacerbated. Because you have to understand this nexus. Terrorism, the whole idea of terrorism, whether international or local, is the quest for power and resources. Nothing else. I mean, how can a group stand up to tell you Western education is an abomination when all of them are educated Western? If you don't like Western education and you have acquired it, go and commit suicide. Why would you go and kill others? Kill yourself first. You use computer to manipulate the world. They are one of the best set of people when it comes to social media. You acquired it through Western education. So these are all manipulation to introduce anarchy so that they can move in and then acquire power and resources. Nothing else. Let me give an instance. What would you say is the motive of ISIS? For me, they just wanted to acquire power and resources. So they took over they started in the guise of being pro-democracy activists, mixed up with them in Syria. And when they became strong, they now announced themselves ISIS, and that they are now in control of this country, that the country should be named Islamic State.
Be your advice to these governors who have the responsibility to provide security for lives and property?
Good. First of all, let them calm down. Let them bring all the parties together. Let them dialogue to understand the nitty-gritty of it. There was one man I saw on TV, I think he belongs to Meiti Allah. He said, when they went into discussion, when one man was complaining that they ate up his crops, they started tracing. Only they traced that the cows that ate up his crops were his own cows. I heard it on TV. And that's exactly what I'm saying. That if they don't misunderstand what is happening, those ones that were genuine mistakes, which I term the original conflict and natural conflict, they will see that it's reconcilable and can never cause problem. The whole idea of the crop farmer is to make money. So if you say that the cow ate up the crops, and you say how much is the crop, because that's the whole idea, and he will tell you the cost of it, and you pay. That's the end.
That brings me to my next question. Because
yes.
The livestock guards in Benue State, there's like a strong allegation against them.
The
livestock guards. Of the
the
Benue State government.
All right.
So the Mieti Allah group are saying that these livestock guards actually extort money from them and sometimes rustle their cows. Now, what should the state government be doing at this point, now that there's a strong allegation against the livestock guards that were established to help enforce the open grazing law?
Good. If I tell you that among the security forces in Nigeria that there are no criminal elements, I'll be lying. So whenever you establish any organization that is composed of more than 12 persons, there is a Judas. So as you're establishing any organization, the first thing that should come to your mind is who will guard the guards? Because whether there will be renegades is compulsory. So if the Benue State government wants to establish such organization to see that those laws are kept, they must also watch the activities of those organizations so that they can bring to justice whoever is perpetrating criminal activities using that guise. So whoever does it amongst them still falls into what I say. He's now a terrorist because he's using violence to extort money from people. Because the people that are doing these invasions are trained specially, it needs the services of a special force trained in that field in order to handle them. It's not a police affair. You have seen how they ambushed some of the policemen and killed them. And I keep laughing because when they even use the word ambush, you can only ambush when you're a trained military man because it's timed and you have intelligence. So it requires the entrance of the military or the security apparatus that have been trained in guerrilla warfare to move in to check this terrorism. Otherwise, we'll wake up one day and we'll see that the whole nation is already overrun by terrorism.
It's complex because the governor was implicated when some men were arrested by the Nigerian army, and they allege that the governor is actually their sponsor, and he armed them to protect certain territories within Benue.
Now, you say it's an allegation. Good. It will be premature because we cannot be reciting what the people arrested said. The security apparatus has not come out with the findings of the investigation. So it will be premature for us to start acting as if we are the security operative, making comments on something that has not been investigated. So when it's investigated, then you will now begin to separate the criminal angle from it. If actually it's the government that is sending them on the mission to implement a law, then what you'll be talking about now is whether they have the right to give them such kind of equipment, not whether they have the right to do what they are doing. So you will now be thinking about illegal possession of arms. You see the difference in law. Law is quite intricate. If a government sets up something and if the government can own up now that they set up this, they give them these arms. And if they've not used the arms to do what is illegal, assuming you now just arrested them with the arms, you'll be talking about illegal possession of firearms. So, but the security agencies have not investigated that, so we cannot really talk on that.
Let's talk about the open grazing law.
Yes.
How do you evaluate the open grazing law, the anti-open grazing law?
Now, let me make it clear. We must ranch one day. Why? It's a consequence of the evolution of society. As the society is growing, cities are emerging. And you cannot, for instance, allow a livestock farmer to carry his herds and move through the streets of London, the herds defecating along the road. You cannot. So, you cannot, for instance, it's an eyesore, for instance, for international tourists to come into Abuja, and they are passing our highway, and herds are going across the road, defecating, pata, pata, pata. So, apart from the fact of these clashes, one day we must ranch as a consequence of development.
think in some quarters, some persons are saying the president is playing double standards because of the way he has handled the herdsmen farmers clash. He has refused to declare the herdsmen a terrorist organization, but was quick to declare IPOB a terrorist organization.
You know, that's one thing about democracy. The opposition does not have any other job than to proffer constructive criticism. And when you're very gullible, they would have a way of turning everything, even when it's not true. Let me make it clear. It is obvious that most of the terrorists in the northern Nigeria are Muslims. So would you also accuse the president, who has moved forcefully against them and destroyed them down to their base, more than a Christian president? Would you accuse him now that he did not declare those ones terrorist organization, or that he came into power and started treating them with kid gloves because he's a Muslim? No. Why? They are clearly marked terrorists. And whoever has a clear identity is easier to deal with. You just said Fulani herdsmen. What you just called is a profession. There is no criminality attached to the name Fulani herdsmen. Me, as a Christian who is a Southerner, cannot come and declare Fulani herdsmen a terrorist organization, because I would have given a president and set a precedent. You understand what I'm saying? I would have given a president that is not from my ethnic stock, coming in future, the power to declare Igbo traders terrorist organization, just because there are some criminal elements, maybe from Igbo land, that have perpetrated some criminal acts. Because Fulani herdsmen is a profession. It's not a crime.
IPOB is a socio-cultural organization.
Beg your pardon. There's no Igbo attached to IPOB. There's no Igbo attached to it. Now, IPOB, the full meaning is Indigenous Peoples of Biafra. That's the meaning. There is no religion attached to it. There's no ethnic name attached to it. Biafra includes other communities that are not Igbo. So do not take it that it is an Igbo thing. Indigenous peoples of Biafra, just like I said, that certain people among an organization are predominant from one ethnic group, does not make it that it is the ethnic group that should be held responsible for it. IPOB is IPOB. And if they do anything that is not in line with the law, they should be treated in accordance with what they did. When IPOB came out the first time, nobody declared them terrorist organization. Nobody. Yes. But if the government believes and finds that what they are doing is not in accordance with the law, they have the right to follow everything legally and try them legally.